Roman and Kane.
Roman and Kane in the brand new 2015 Tundra. And I'm here with Ivan Stewart.
Hey guys, put up on the last tire we're airing down here. Just doing a one little final check and then we'll be on our way.
Who is probably best known as Ironman.
Yeah.
And where did you earn that reputation? Was that the 98 Baja?
No,
Did you win, or was that before then?
No, way before that. Valvoline Oil Company put up an award called the Valvoline Ironman.
Yep.
To anybody that could race the whole Baja 1000 or Baja 500 solo and win.
And
I was the first to do it, and the second, the third to do it, and then they were calling me the Ironman after that. And from then on, I just drove solo.
So is it going to be weird driving with the two of us in here?
No, I enjoy driving, especially off-road. It's a fun day. It's a great time to be, great day to be out, and great weather, and look like a bunch of people, a lot of people that want to have fun, and I'm into fun. My motto: if it's not fun, I don't want to go.
What's it like to be driving at 99.9%, or I don't know, if you're at 110% on the desert for 20 hours? That's got to be really taxing and really tiring.
Well, people think that we drive at a high percentage of your ability and the truck's ability, but in the Baja 1000 and in a lot of off-road endurance races, you can only run about 80%. Because if you run at 100%, you're right on the verge of making mistakes, and in a 1,000-mile race, you have to knock your speeds off. But still, you're very aggressive and driving fast and making as much time as you can. But the whole objective, as a lot of people don't realize, is to drive as smooth as you can.
So it's like a racetrack, same thing. You want to be smooth.
If it's road racing or off-road racing, it's still exactly the same. Or today driving. So, we can go out and tear this truck up, or in a road course. You can over-rev the engine and burn the clutch out of it. So it's the same thing. So it's getting a nice feel for it, where you're comfortable and the truck's comfortable. The truck will actually start talking to you, where if you're doing things it doesn't like, it's going to tell you. You'll feel it in the steering.
You can tell. Is there a rhythm you get into? You start to kind of get into like a zone?
Absolutely a rhythm, yeah. And sometimes it's a good question, because some races that I've done, it's taken me an hour to get into it. Sometimes 3 or 4 hours. Sometimes I get it in 10, 15 minutes. So you're always waiting. That's a great question, because part of the off-road racing process, especially off-road, in a desert race, I'm not talking about short course, where you've got time, you've got to wait for everything, the brakes to warm up and feel the steering's work and the suspension and the shocks, and everything's got to kind of come to you. If you try and get into that too quick, it's
force it. Things break.
Then you start sliding off the track and stuff and wasting time, and you're going up and down and you're not going forward, and you're just wasting a lot of time.
So I can see that, the first 3-4 hours into the race, but what's it feel like when you're 15 or 16 hours into the race? At that point, you must be thirsty, tired, exhausted, sweating. It must be much harder to be in the moment.
Well, it's, you try and stay focused, the best of your ability and concentrate. But there's a lot of little tricks you can use to driving off-road to...
Guys, I was busy chatting. I drove right by a little cutoff. I'm going to have to hang at you here.
But you have to, you get little secrets where you can relax a little bit while you're driving. If I know there's a section of 8 miles long I don't have to read the terrain, because reading the terrain is what's tiring.
Kind of anticipating what's coming.
What you're doing is you're reading the terrain as quick as you can all day and all night long, night and day, because you can't remember it all. But if you can remember a piece, or you feel real confident, then you can actually relax your brain. Not so much physical, it's also physical. But finding those little places where you can relax. Because most people that I've watched that first drive off-road, they work way too hard at it. They're
tense.
Yeah. Look out for rocks here and there.
They hit the brake, it's more like that.
The big thing is just get a little gap between you and let the dust clear. Enjoy the vehicle. Just remember that if you have to stop quickly, the brakes are going to kick back on you and give you a little grief.
See, that would wear you out. See, if I drove like that all the time...
I'm already worn out.
Already, that's what I'm saying. That's my point. So, when you ride with somebody, I'm going to let you drive after a while, and I'm going to be watching you.
Okay.
And you should also know exactly where your tires are. right? So you got to go through this whole process of reading the terrain, know exactly where your tires are, don't have any flats, and be as smooth as you can. Right? So whenever you put on the brakes, if you're driving, you don't put the brakes on because you want to stop, right? And all you're doing is you're changing the speed. So you can go through that little bump there at the speed you want to. Does it make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense, yeah.
I've analyzed this before in off-road racing. All day long, what you're basically doing is changing the weight of the four tires you have. If you're going as quickly as you can, you're basically changing the weight. So if you want to go fast in a straight line, you want as much weight on the rear tires as you can get, right? Because it's two-wheel drive, traction, right?
Yeah, you get traction if you get on the back wheels.
If I'm going to hit that rock right there with the right
Not everything is 100% marked, so you just have to drive what you can see. As I said, let the dust clear, just kind of buzz along and run at a little comfortable pace, and you'll feel the car come to you.
And that's what he said. But I can lighten that tire up because it's going to hit a rock, or I can lighten that one up, right? So if I put the brakes on it, it's going to put more weight on the front tires and put the...
So you're transferring weight, you're shifting the weight?
Continually shifting the weight, continually. That's what you do all day long. Without realizing it. It's not like you analyze it, but I've done it for so many years. That's basically what I've been doing. And you're doing it as smooth as you possibly can.
So what percentage of being fast is experience, and what percentage is being brave, and what percentage is being smart? I mean, how would you rate those?
Well, number one, I can tell you, and I've said this 10,000 times, that I've won more off-road races by not making mistakes than anything, right?
Yeah.
The speed comes later.
Right.
But you can win your first off-road race. Most people don't, but I mean, you can win the first one just by not making mistakes, not by going fast. Just don't make mistakes. And that it's impossible to do. I mean, because you always put the tire too close to the rock, or you brake a little bit more than what you should have, or whatever it is. But basically, that's if you can be smooth, don't get lost, don't have a flat tire, don't make mistakes, and let the speed come, then that's what it's all about.
All right, I got to ask, what was your biggest mistake that you made? You remember?
I mean, a lot of them.
Is there one that stands out?
Yeah, let me think. The one that really stands out. Probably the biggest crash I ever had was right over here in North Las Vegas, where our testing grounds was.
What happened?
Indoed a race car and had a big crash.
Yeah.
Hit the skid plate and it went up on his nose, probably 70 miles an hour. And went out through the desert.
Is it kind of a tumble?
Yeah, but I've never really got myself in a position where I really thought I was going to die or anything like that.
Yeah.
Probably my biggest fear was doing something that would be my fault that we didn't win the race.
So the other team.
That would mean go into this ditch too hard during the race. And did you hear that right there?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so that we just bottomed the suspension a little bit. Just touched it.
Yeah.
So that's the governor. So that's the governor says, okay, that's the limit of the suspension.
So that's about as fast as you want to hit that.
Yeah, I mean, that's so, because there's got to be, because we can break this. If we went through here at 80 miles an hour, it's not going to do very good.
Yeah, sure. Especially here in Vegas, it's very rocky.
It's not rocky very and it's rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, for off-road driving, I mean, it's darn comfortable.
It's a big truck.
It's a big truck, yeah.
It's a very big truck. All right, so what's out of all the races you've done, what's the one win that you remember the most? What's your kind of year?
Baja 1000.
Yeah. Which year?
Yeah, probably might have been the one that went. The one that went to La Paz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I won the Mint 400. Was right here in Las Vegas. I mean, that was always a. Did you ever run the Mint 400 and know about it?
Oh yeah, you lapped us twice. I was in a Class 5 car. You gave us a little love tap along 15 freeway before the rock garden.
I won that one 3 years in a row overall. So I mean,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was a good one to win.
Yeah, talk to me about the art of the love tap. I mean, at what point is it just a love tap, and at what point is it get the hell out of my way?
Well, Parnelli Jones always had the best explanation for that. A journalist asked him that question one time. He said, "Well, Parnelli, how do you pass all these people,
Yeah.
You got to go up and get their attention." And he says, "Well, we use the honk and bump method." And the journalist says, "Well, how long is it between the honk and the bump?" He said, "About that long." I never really liked to bump people. I would rather go around them, because what happens a lot of times if you come up to bump people, you've got to slow down, match your speed.
Yep.
right? And then bump them. Hope you don't bump them too hard because you don't want to take them out or mess up your bumper, right? And if you can just go around them, because then some people slam on their brakes. I've had that, it scares them, and I don't,
And then you're an accident, yeah.
Yeah, they're not professional racers, and they slam the brake on that, you really got a big accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll panic and
that's right.
Getting those little cattywampus, and they're
That's right.
really in their way then.
That's right. So anyway, I obviously bumped a lot of people, but never really tried to put anybody out or anything.
The race you won, was that the rear-wheel drive truck?
Yeah, all rear wheel.
Oh, real. So what's the difference between, say, a rear-wheel drive and an all-wheel drive in terms of driving on the desert and racing? Is there a different strategy when you just got the back wheels?
Well, I always liked rear wheel drive. I think the ultimate in off-road racing would be four-wheel drive if nobody really developed anything. It was the ultimate, because you got to carry more weight.
Yeah.
Harder to start, harder to get going, all those things. But nobody really developed a four-wheel drive that was fast. I mean, something that was a trophy truck four-wheel drive. They tried it before, but everything I drove was rear-wheel drive just because Toyota, that's what they wanted to race, and it was easier to develop and all those things.
Because in the Dakar, the faster vehicles are always
four-wheel drive.
Always four-wheel drive, yeah, exactly.
See, now he's going, because we got this accordion effect going here, Tom's going the speed about he wants to go. But see, we're going a little too slow but if you kick the speed up a little bit, then you can almost make it more fun, where you have a little more challenge of and then you can do it smooth, I call it smooth.
Yeah, yeah.
But see, we just kind of got more, see how it's going, it feels better now?
Yeah, it smooths out. The suspension starts to work.
Yeah, it's when we're going too slow.
Yeah. Yeah, basically you're just pounding the hell out of us. Because
we're just going up and down.
Up and down. You're not floating over the bumps.
Yeah, but Tom doesn't want to go too fast, I'm sure, because they don't want anybody to have a flat tire or something.
Sure, yeah.
But there's a speed that's a comfortable speed, like there's a comfortable RPM and motorcycles and race cars and everything else.
How's the steering on this?
Fantastic.
Good.
But you know what's hard to do?
Are they paying you to say that?
No. But you know what's really hard to do, and I'm always impressed with all these vehicles, and you guys, I'll guarantee you that every one of these that you get in, can you imagine trying to build this thing without rattling?
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been impressed with the ability to do that.
Now, my sense is that this is about halfway to a Ford Raptor.
Halfway?
So, yeah, about halfway.
Okay.
That's my sense. And I haven't, I've driven. We actually have a long-term Ford Raptor, so I've driven that. I haven't driven this yet. But in terms of the amount of kind of suspension travel it has and how it's set up, you think that's a fair statement?
I haven't driven a Raptor off-road.
Yeah.
But it depends a lot. It depends on how the suspension's tuned, the springs, the shocks, wheel travel. I don't know exactly what the wheel travel on this is. Total bump, slap, nor the Raptor.
Yeah.
But I mean, for what this is, I mean, it's.
Yeah, there we get a little speed going. I love that exhaust note, by the way. Isn't that magnificent?
Yeah, it does feel good.
It sure does.
Or sound good.
Yeah, it sounds great. Now you're rocking.
See, now you can get
in a rhythm.
This is rocky roads here. You get that. You've got the speed that now you're starting to smooth stuff out. The vehicle's happier.
Yeah.
It's easier to drive.
Okay, any questions you wanted to ask? Am I forgetting something?
I'm enjoying listening.
Okay.
But the main thing I think a lot of people don't understand is that when they put the brakes on or they put steering input, if I put too much steering input, I know I've ridden with people who drive like this, right?
Yeah.
It's just what they do. Or
because they're reacting. They're not anticipating.
Yeah,
right?
they're unexperienced and they're doing things that are uncomfortable to the car, and as well as not only for the driver but especially the passengers, because you never know when I'm going to do that.
Right.
So yeah, if people can just learn to do this and just be easy with it, you can drive for hours. I'm not working hard at it. I'm just driving one-handed, and placing the tires exactly where they should be. Then you also got to worry about the differential or the lowest part of the truck, which is the differential. Some of these rocks are pretty big.
You can smash it pretty easily.
You want to do that, yeah. Really expensive.
Yeah, and it probably takes you out of the race.
It takes you out of the race, yeah. Like I say, and mistakes are what you try not to make. And flat tires are mistakes. Hitting the skid plate, I say even touching the skid plate's a mistake. The skid plate only there for your insurance.
Yeah.
If you really screw up and you hit a big boulder, and that skid plate keeps it from rationing the radiator or something, then you're starting to use up your insurance. Or bottoming the suspension.
Yeah,
Or topping the suspension. Or topping it's the same thing.
Really, I didn't think topping would do as much damage.
Well, what you're doing is you're jerking the shock apart.
Yeah, it's pulling apart.
Yeah, and if you have a limit strap, and it's better. But if you think about it, every time you leave the ground, you can't steer, you can't brake, you can't accelerate.
You're out of control.
Yeah, so you need to be on the ground to do all those things.
When I was in college, I used to do a little bit of ski racing, and it was actually when you were flying, you were actually going slower. Not only were you not in control, but you were actually slowing down because you were grabbing a lot of the wind.
Yeah.
And so you would always try to suppress the jumps. You wouldn't try to hit the jumps.
Yep. And you can change how how a vehicle hits the bumps too, just by accelerate and decelerate. And you can change how the loads are. We're not going fast enough to really kind of show you how that works.
If you guys see white all of a sudden, you know I've gone a little too fast because that'll be the airbag.